Welcome to the Global Intellectual. A lot of you have been asking me if I have stopped monitoring geopolitics as a whole. Well, truth be told, I've been monitoring it more closely than I ever do. Then why am I not publishing videos on it? Well, the simple answer is that I was waiting for at least one positive news. But looking at the current trends, I think I'll never get it. So I thought I'll make you realize what's happening in the world of geopolitics. In the past 6 months, there has been a very worrying trend that worries me a lot, and it should worry you as well, right? So the world's only global superpower, America, is slowly but surely losing its leverage over both its allies and its enemies. Now, this is not a video to bash America. I, as a person, have learned a lot from that country and its people. I admire the beauty of capitalism. I admire the beauty of democracy. And looking at a country with the stature of the United States of America losing battle after battle has been very worrying for me. I didn't give a damn when America lost in Afghanistan, to be honest, because many times you have to lose a battle to win the damn war. But America has been losing in Afghanistan, in Ukraine, in the European Union, in the South China Sea, everywhere. And that is extremely problematic for me. So if you are an American who's watching this video, I would love to hear your perspective down in the comment section. This video is an honest attempt to look at the American establishment and its policy making decisions. So without further ado, let's begin with this amazing video. September 11th, 2001. Many Americans wake up to a very disturbing news of a terrorist attack on their soil. The government of America suddenly wakes up to the global threat of terrorism. It decides to find out the perpetrators of this cowardly attack and bring him to justice. They finally find out that a guy called Osama bin Laden is the main perpetrator of this attack. Finally, the Americans decide they will go into Afghanistan and eliminate this guy called Osama bin Laden, who's the main perpetrator of these attacks, and rightfully so. However, it was very interesting for me to see that the Americans really never gave a damn about terrorism when India was complaining about it at the global forums before these attacks. Well, why didn't it give a damn? Because terrorism was more of an India problem, more of a third world problem that really didn't affect America. And all of a sudden, when it starts affecting America, oh, it becomes a global problem, right? We must never forget that it was the Americans who created the Mujahideen in order to fight off Soviet forces in Afghanistan. I still remember President Ronald Reagan calling the Mujahideen freedom fighters. Well, I'll give it a pass because in geopolitics, sometimes personal interests take the first seat and morality takes the back seat. Now, America wants to invade Afghanistan. There are two primary ways in which you can invade Afghanistan. One is through Iran and other is through Pakistan. America as a country has already severed its relationship with Iran during the Iranian Revolution. You don't know what the Iranian Revolution is? Don't you worry, I have your back covered. I made a video on it and you will find the link to it down in the description below. You can watch it after you watch this video. So, but naturally, America had to go with the option of Pakistan. The Pakistanis double cross both the Americans and the Taliban. The Pakistanis take money from the Americans but are themselves the safe house to Osama bin Laden, the man whom the Americans were searching. Now, I clearly don't believe the Pakistanis didn't know that Osama bin Laden was hiding in Abbottabad. Finally, Obama becomes the president of the United States of America. People have great expectations from him and he delivers by killing Osama bin Laden in Abbottabad, Pakistan. However, what people generally don't want to talk about is the fact that there were several human rights violations during Obama's presidency. US bombings of Afghanistan killed several innocent people. Moreover, there were human rights violations in Iraq. However, we don't want to talk about this and we shove it under the carpet. Why? Because Obama is such a darling of the human rights lobby. He even gets awarded the Nobel Peace Prize after all of this. Well, hypocrisy certainly has no limits. Then comes Trump. Things in the Middle East slowly turned to get better for America. However, in Afghanistan, the trend continues. After him, Joe Biden wins the presidency. Now, this is the guy who was supposed to fix everything wrong, which was done by Trump during his presidency.
Oh my god! Wow!
All of a sudden, out of nowhere, without calculating anything, Joe Biden decides now it is time for us to pull out of Afghanistan. He leaves billions of dollars of defense equipment right there, and the Taliban takes over. Too much for a country who preaches the world the values of democracy, right? Even several Afghans who helped the United States fight their so called war on terror against the Taliban are left right there at the mercy of Taliban and not evacuated by the United States. This plants the first seeds of doubt in the minds of other smaller countries who have actually relied upon the United States for their own protection. Now, when we look at the EU, the European Union, most of us already know that most of the nations out there are vassal states of the United States. They follow the directives of Washington and they follow their foreign policy. Well, except the country of France. When Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of UK, was resigning, he gave an advice to his probable successor: stay close to the Americans. Can you imagine an outgoing Indian president giving an advice to his successor: stay close to the Russians? I mean, this is ridiculous. How do you maintain your own sovereignty when you tell your successor, stay close to this XYZ country? So America decides to punish France for its own independence. France as a country has a very strong defense sector. It exports a lot of its defense goods. So because of this reason, France already has an existing deal with Australia to build some submarines for Australia. So the US comes in along with UK and creates a group called the AUKUS: Australia, UK and US. And US counters the offer of France along with UK to build those same submarines for Australia, because of which Australia rejects the contract with France and declares that it will now build those same submarines with the United States and the United Kingdom. I don't know how a country which can't keep its allies together will ever win a war. On the other hand, the Americans seem to be quite proficient bringing their enemies together. America runs and controls an organization called the NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is a group of countries which come together to counter the Russian threat. America usually controls this because, of course, the other member nations are usually the vassal states of the United States of America. Now, the NATO has a verbal agreement with the Russians that they will not expand eastwards towards Moscow and make Moscow insecure of a probable attack. Well, the NATO later goes on to say that, oh, this was a verbal agreement and therefore no longer binding to us. So the NATO is expanding eastwards. What do you expect? Putin will just sit there in Moscow and say, okay, let the Americans pose a grave threat to the capital of my nation? Obviously not. You can say a lot of things about Putin, but you can't certainly say that he's foolish. He's a very smart guy. Zelensky knew what Putin was threatening him, and still he decided to say, no, I will keep joining the NATO. I will join the NATO this day. I will join the NATO the other day. But he never actually joined NATO, right? It was all words, no action. And that is what he's paying the price for now. And that is what his country is paying the price for now. You had one job, just one job, to keep Moscow and Beijing apart. Yet you can't seem to do it. Well, you have to stop with your fantasy of alienating Russia every damn time in Europe. Because if you do that, you are just pushing Russia into the hands of China. And when you do that, you bring two of your greatest adversaries together, and this significantly reduces your leverage. Soon you might lose the superpower status because of this. The American establishment somehow doesn't seem to understand this. Congratulations, you have two of your greatest adversaries coming together to fight against you. So after messing up with the global oil supply, our friend Joe Biden decides it's now time to correct it, and he decides to go to Saudi Arabia and talk with Mohammed bin Salman and ask him to increase his production so that the global supply increases and the price of oil actually comes down. What he doesn't realize is the fact that during his presidential campaign, he actually targeted the crown prince for the Khashoggi murder. The crown prince didn't forget this. When Biden finally comes into power, he suspends the sale of several US arms to Saudi Arabia on the basis of human rights violations. When he reaches Saudi Arabia, Biden actually forgets his election campaign. He actually goes on to fist bump Mohammed bin Salman. This photo goes viral and people actually tell Biden that he has blood on his hands. Biden, as usual, goes with the flow and he raises the issue of the Khashoggi murder with Mohammed bin Salman. MBS responds to Joe Biden. He reminds him about the atrocities committed by America in the Iraqi prisons. Moreover, he refuses to increase the supply of oil and decrease the prices for the same. Trump took his entire presidency to improve relations with the Saudis. Within 1 year, Joe Biden has severely damaged that relationship. Congratulations, you have damaged your relationship with your most reliable energy partner in the world. Let's look at Asia. There is no hiding the fact that China is definitely on the rise. Look at the map. Is there any country which can actually counter China? Well, if you guessed India, you are absolutely right. Home to 1.3 billion people, a nuclear power, a strong economy. It has all the qualities needed to counter China. But now I'll tell you where the problem actually lies. The Americans think that they can push India around just as a satellite state. But that is not the case with India. India has its own independent thinking and is a sovereign state that makes its own decisions. America cannot tell us that we cannot dock Russian ships at Mumbai port. I'm sorry, that is not how this relationship will work. So, what can the United States do to counter China? Well, the answer is quite simple. Remove your manufacturing units from China and relocate them to places like Thailand, India, and Indonesia. Moreover, give India transfer of technology, arm India. I'm not telling you to give away your weapons for free, but at least offer them at subsidized rates. Moreover, go ahead and weaponize countries like Indonesia, Philippines, Malaysia, Vietnam, Cambodia, and even South Korea, which have border disputes with China, right? And the most important point, please allow Japan to make its own weapons stronger. Let them develop their own military and come out of this colonial mentality of World War that you will control what Japan does with its military. If you allow Japan to make its own military hardware, believe me, China will be no match for Japan. America should indeed stop playing the cop of the world and actually make some good allies for the time being at least. Or else I fear that Taiwan will be the next big failure of the United States of America. So, that was the end of this video. If you did learn something new, like this video and share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed to us yet, please press that red subscribe button down below and also the bell notification icon next to it to get regular updates about this channel. If you do have some opinions about this topic, please drop in your opinions down in the comment section. I would love to hear them. You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Links are down in the description. That was all for this video. I'll see you again next week. Till then, goodbye and Jai Hind.